No one thought you'd turn out this distant. People used to think you were the kind of person who would always stay close, always be available, always carry love in your hands no matter how heavy it became. You once had a heart that believed in people without question, a soul that assumed kindness would always be returned, and a mind that gave others endless chances, because you believed everyone was capable of good. But life has a way of teaching lessons slowly, quietly, and painfully. You did not wake up one day and decide to be distant. It happened over time, in small moments that no one noticed, little pieces of you fading away after every broken promise, every unanswered message, every moment you realized that some people only came to you when they needed something. You were once the person who tried to fix everything. You tried to keep friendships alive long after they had expired. You tried to heal people who were destroying themselves. You tried to show love to people who could not even see their own value. You gave pieces of your heart to people who treated it like something temporary. In doing so, you learn how painful it is to be someone who feels deeply in a world that often chooses convenience over connection. The truth is, you didn't become distant because you stopped caring. You became distant because you started to understand who actually cared. You used to be the one who sent long messages explaining how you felt. You used to overthink every silence and wonder what you did wrong. You used to chase people who weren't even walking toward you. You used to blame yourself for every relationship that fell apart, every friendship that grew cold, every person who slowly drifted away. But eventually, something inside you changed. Not out of anger, but out of acceptance. You stopped trying to force conversations. You stopped begging people to show up. You stopped explaining your worth to those who could not see it. You stopped defending your heart to those who only misunderstood it. You stopped being available for people who were never there for you. Instead, you learned to be still. You learned to trust distance. You learned that silence answers more questions than arguments ever could. You learned that actions always reveal true intentions. You learned that peace is more valuable than attention. And slowly, you started protecting your heart in ways you never did before. People say you change, but they never talk about what changed you. They did not see the nights when you cried quietly so no one would worry about you. They did not see how many times you helped others heal while you were breaking inside. They did not see how many goodbyes you had to accept without ever getting a real explanation. They did not see how many times you forgave people who never apologized. They did not see the loneliness that comes from being the strong one, the reliable one, the one who listens to everyone but has no one who truly listens back. They did not see the pain behind your silence. They only saw the silence. They labeled you distant because they never cared enough to ask what happened. They never tried to understand the heart behind the distance. The truth is, you still care. You still feel everything deeply. You still believe in love, kindness, and honesty. You still want real connections, but you no longer want them at the cost of losing yourself. You no longer want love that drains you. You no longer want friendships that feel one-sided. You no longer chase people who are not interested in staying. You finally learned that you deserve the same effort you give. You deserve the same honesty you offer. You deserve the same loyalty you show. You deserve people who choose you without hesitation. You started to choose yourself. And maybe that is why people say you are distant now. Because you no longer chase what is not meant for you. You no longer entertain half-hearted conversations. You no longer explain your value. You no longer stay where your soul feels ignored. You no longer set yourself on fire to keep other people warm. Now, you move differently. You think before giving your trust. You take your time before opening up. You protect your energy. You guard your space. You're no longer afraid of walking away when something is hurting your peace. You no longer give your time to people who waste it. You no longer sacrifice yourself for people who would never do the same for you. This distance is not coldness. It is clarity. It is peace. It is maturity. It is healing. You did not become distant because you hate people. You became distant because you finally learned who you are. You learned that your heart matters too. Your needs matter too. Your feelings matter too. And even though people may say you have changed, the truth is you have simply grown. You grew out of begging for love. You grew out of trying to be understood by people committed to misunderstanding you. You grew out of sacrificing your emotional well-being for people who gave you pain in return. You grew out of trying to fix everything and everyone. You grew out of your own exhaustion. Now, you choose peace over chaos, mind over impulse, reality over illusion, effort over words, and distance over disrespect. You are not distant because you stopped loving. You are distant because you finally started loving yourself enough to walk away from anything that does not honor your soul. And maybe people will never understand that. Maybe they will always question your silence and your peace. Maybe they will always assume you turn cold. Let them. You do not owe the world your warmth anymore. You do not owe anyone your time, your explanations, or your energy. The right people will feel your heart even in your silence. The right people will stay without being asked. The right people will understand your distance without judging it. You are not hard to love. You just finally refuse to be loved poorly. So if people call you distant now, let them talk. Let them wonder. Let them think whatever they want. Because the truth is, you have not closed your heart. You have simply closed your doors to those who never deserved to enter. And that is not distance. That is growth. That is healing. That is strength. That is peace earned the hard way. Piece by piece, lesson by lesson, goodbye by goodbye. You did not become distant. You finally became free. You reached a point in your life where silence stopped feeling like loneliness and started feeling like protection. You discovered that peace is not found in people but within yourself. And you learned to stand alone with a strength you never knew existed. Your distance is not a wall. It is a boundary. It does not come from fear, but from wisdom. You watch people reveal themselves not by what they said, but by what they did. And you learn to step back without bitterness. You let go without revenge. You walked away without looking back. It wasn't easy. In fact, it was one of the hardest things you have ever done. You had to unlearn your own patterns of overgiving and overthinking. You had to teach your heart that love is not proven through suffering. You had to accept that not everyone you wanted in your life was meant to stay. You had to accept that some people apologize with change, but others apologize with repetition. Some people show you love in action, while others only keep you close when they need you. You saw the difference, and you adjusted. You no longer chase what confuses your heart. You no longer wait for people to become who they promise to be. You no longer carry emotional weight that does not belong to you. You no longer feel guilty for outgrowing places where happiness could not breathe. You understand now that life moves forward, not backward, and sometimes distance is not a punishment but a path, one that leads you to yourself. What once hurt you no longer controls you. The things that used to break you no longer scare you. You feel your emotions, but you are no longer controlled by them. You understand now that healing does not mean forgetting, and peace does not mean perfection. Healing means learning without hating yourself. Peace means accepting life without needing to control it. You spent so long searching for home in other people. You tried to build comfort in borrowed souls, but now you finally understand. Home was never a person. Home was always a feeling inside you. It was the calm you longed for, the safety you craved, the kindness you were willing to give. And now you protect that feeling with everything in you. Your distance is not a lack of love. It is a way of loving yourself better. You no longer break yourself to keep others whole. You no longer prove your worth to people who cannot see it. You no longer entertain love that arrives broken and expects you to fix it. You are done trying to be everything for people who would never lift a finger for you. You now choose peace over attachment, truth over fantasy, growth over comfort, and yourself over approval. You have learned that real love does not require losing yourself. Real love does not come with conditions or fear. Real love does not ask you to shrink or silence who you are. Real love does not hurt your soul. Real love is steady, patient, consistent, and one day, whether tomorrow or years from now, that love will find you. It will not rush. It will not disappear. It will not make you feel like you are asking for too much. It will not play with your heart. It will meet you where you are and stay. But until that day comes, you are no longer afraid of being alone, because your solitude is not empty. It is full of growth, clarity, and quiet strength. You are using this time not just to heal, but to evolve. You are transforming your past into wisdom, your pain into power, and your lessons into purpose. You are not behind. You are not lost. You are becoming. You are learning how to trust slowly, love gently, and choose wisely. Life has changed you, yes, but it has not hardened you. You still believe in kindness. You still believe in giving. You still believe in the beauty of real connection. But now you give more carefully. You choose more patiently. You love more wisely. You walk with awareness. You protect your peace. You listen to your intuition, even when it whispers. You no longer ignore the signs. You no longer stay where your soul is tired. You no longer try to prove your place in someone's life. You now trust where you are being guided. You accept what ends. You allow what begins. You flow with life instead of fighting it. You trust that what is meant for you will not require you to break your own heart to have it. You know now that distance is sometimes the highest form of self-respect. It is not about cutting people off. It is about protecting your energy, honoring your growth, and choosing emotional safety over chaos. You have become the calm in your own life. You have become your own healer. You have become your own safe place. And while people may still wonder why you became distant, they will never understand the strength it took to get here. They do not know how many wars you fought inside yourself. They do not know how many times you chose to stay kind when the world tempted you to become cold. They do not know how many times you stayed silent instead of defending yourself to those committed to misunderstanding you. They do not know how much you carried before you chose peace. They do not understand your evolution, but they are not supposed to. Your growth was not a public performance. It was a quiet, private journey. You rebuilt yourself in silence. You healed in silence. You found yourself in silence. Now, you no longer fear the distance. You no longer fear letting people go. You no longer fear walking alone. You know now that you are whole, with or without anyone. You smile differently now, softer but stronger. You move differently, with purpose but without rush. You speak differently, less to be heard and more to be understood. You love differently, deeper but with boundaries. And anyone who enters your life from this point forward will feel the difference, not because you are distant, but because you have learned the value of your heart. You no longer give it away carelessly. You guard it not out of fear, but out of wisdom. You are not the person you used to be, and that is something to be proud of. You survived every version of yourself that doubted, that hurt, that broke, that begged, that waited, that tried too hard. You became someone you can finally live with, someone you can trust. So if the world calls you distant now, so be it. You are not here to convince anyone to understand your journey. You are here to honor your truth, protect your energy, and live your life with peace. And from now on, you choose yourself, fully, completely, and without apology, because you finally understand that the people who are meant to be in your life will never be pushed away by your healing. They will meet you where you are. They will value your peace. They will respect your growth. They will choose you the way you choose them. Until then, you will keep walking your path, not with anger, not with fear, but with quiet strength, because your distance is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of your freedom, and your future is waiting, calm, bright, and finally yours. If this message reached you, stay close. More is coming, and this is only the beginning of who you are becoming.